Well, hello there. This is Christopher Tarantola. Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, and we are playing Reaching for the Stars. Unfortunately, on the last episode, we kind of left Valentina in orbit with no parachutes and no ability to get back to the surface of Kerbin. So we are going to have to reach her. It's complicated even further by the fact that we are not exactly on a equatorial orbit here. So we're going to have a really fun time rendezvousing with her craft and getting her and the science that she obtained from that craft back to Kerbal. Or Kerbin. I keep on calling it Kerbal. That's Kerbal. This is Kerbin. I apologize ahead of time. I know that won't be the last time I make that mistake, but anyway, so I'm not going to fly that mission because we know she's up there. She's safe being in an altitude above 70 kilometers. Cancel. That would be bad. Why don't we leave the facility? All right, so here we are in the vehicle assembly building. I'm not going to do too much commentary. Again, we'll fast forward through this just so that y'all can see what I did without having to sit through the whole thing. So I will see you guys on the launch pad. And actually, as I do this, I know I've slowed it back down. As I watch this, it's actually pretty late at night. It's 1 a.m. local time. And SpaceX has just launched their JCSAT 16. It is currently about to do the stage 2 startup as we speak, and it just started. So stage 2 has ignited, and they are showing that on the screen right now. They successfully landed their first stage on, of course, I Love You. So congratulations to them for that remarkable achievement. SpaceX, I think, is one of the coolest things out there right now. Elon Musk in general is a really awesome guy. And I'm really glad that they are doing the things that they are doing, because it is going to allow my son to have a future in space, and he quite often quotes that he wants to be an astronaut now. I know that's he's just 4 years old, and so that's just a thing that kids say, but even if he doesn't become an astronaut, just the fact that he wants to be an astronaut, that for me is a cool thing. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to fast forwarding. I hope you enjoy the fast forwarding experience, and I'll see you guys on the flip. Yeah, so at this point I was actually starting to commentate again, and then I realized something was wrong with my delta V calculations, and I checked my asparagus staging, and everything looked fine. So I said, okay, well, let's try it out. So we launched the rocket, and Bob is sitting there looking pretty scared, and I don't blame him. He has every right to be scared, particularly on this mission, considering I was like, yeah, well, just give it a try. And so eventually we go back from map view, and this is what happens. staging has been completely wrong the whole time. And that leads to a rud. Alright, we gotta go back. Alright, so back in the VAB, what I realized is the little yellow fuel lines were being cut by the tail fins that I had added after the fact. If you remember, I just drag and drop this lower section in, and then I plopped those tail fins on there, and when I did that, I cut them off. So that fixed my problem, and we go back to the launch pad. Okay, we are back on the launch pad with Bob. We need to recheck just to make sure, and we are still pretty close though. We're going to have to get into orbit, and we're going to have a higher orbit, and we're going to have to wait for her to catch up with us, because she's in such a low orbit that for us to try and get underneath her would just be impossible. I mean, her per apsis, I believe, is like 70,663, if I remember correctly, and I think I do. And that's barely out of the atmosphere. I mean, that does not really almost count as out of the atmosphere. And so we are going to have to go into a higher orbit. That's just the only way to do it, unless we waited for her to come around, but not only for her to come around, but us to be in a good alignment like we are right now. I mean, we just happen to be in a good alignment. I did not fast forward this at all. It's just a happy accident. So I'm going to take advantage of it, stop talking, and just do it. If you remember, we're going to go along the 135 vector in order to make this happen. The way I figured that out is, okay, there's north, there's south. We want to go south, and we want to go east, so that's southeast. And if we look at the map, that's east, that's south, so we want to go southeast. And there we go. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, launch. Launch, I'll tell you. I don't know if it did it for the video. We'll have to see, but I muted the audio on this so that I could hear the audio on the SpaceX launch. So hopefully that doesn't bother you too much. I just think we got a real rocket launch going on, and so I just, I think that's worth listening in on. The big vertical part of the tower that holds the rocket up is starting to tilt away from the SpaceX rocket. And they have like a little umbilical cord hooked up to the top, just onto the fairing. And that's still attached and kind of stretched out there. There's also another little cord that's attached there right about there. I need to pay attention to what I'm doing. Oh my goodness. Right on. We have a high apoapsis. Okay. Well, we're going to make it to space. No doubt about that. I'm definitely going to be making mistakes because I'm also trying to pay attention. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to pause the game. We're at T minus 1 minute 35 seconds. Alright, they're doing something. I don't even know what. A bunch of steam just came out of the tower and the rocket itself. I'm sure it has something to do with the cryogenics. I'm sure somebody like Scott Manley or some other rocket guy that you're watching would have something more intelligent to say than there's steam coming out of the rocket. I don't know what for. Okay. T minus 57 seconds. They are in startup. I'm sure you can hear them. I've turned the volume up.
Stage 2, ready for flight.
T minus 30 seconds.
T minus 30 seconds.
This thing's about to
T minus 20 seconds.
go. T minus 20 seconds. I don't know. I don't know if y'all can hear this, so I'm gonna repeat what they say sometimes.
T minus 10, 9, 8, 7,
5 seconds to launch.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We have some fire at the bottom, and that rocket is going vertical, and it is clear the tower, or the towers, and it is going 40 meters per second and counting. And it is T plus 22 seconds, and it's going 85 meters per second and counting. By the time I finished saying and counting, it was already at 100 meters per second to give you an idea of how fast it's accelerating. Y'all need to go on the YouTube and watch this video, not listen to me watch the video. But yeah, so I decided just to add a link to the video instead of you listening to me. Here it is. So I just paused the game because we were doing the SpaceX launch, and I had to do the commentary on that. They just landed the first stage back on the Of Course I Love You, which is amazing. I'm still looking at pictures of flames down by the Merlin engines. And that's just amazing. Okay, let's look at what we're doing here, though. We need to get much less. What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, we're just going to circularize our orbit with this burn, so here we go. We got 12 seconds left, so I'm going to shut up with my filler and pay attention. So we got 10, T minus 10 seconds. And we are going to do our burn. It's kind of lagging behind here a little bit. 3, 2, 1, 0. Burn. We still got some of this asparagus staging, so you know we overkilled it, which I kind of knew, but you know, I just grabbed that from the thing and just threw it on there, just so I didn't have to think about it. I didn't want to have to think about it. Doing a rescue, I've had such a hard time with the past 2 missions that I wanted to overkill this and not have to worry about it, right? There's no way that this mission should not have enough Delta V to do everything it's trying to do. Okay, we're about to do some separation. There's stage separation. A lot easier without the aerodynamical forces to shove those staging separator boosters into your current stage rocket. We are not doing anything as cool as SpaceX and returning them, landing them on a little barge. Nothing that cool. Nothing even close to that cool. I mean, think about it. People have done it. You can, and I'll probably try and attempt it at one point, but people have done it in Kerbal Space Program. But I mean, that's just a mission in and of itself in Kerbal Space Program. So that's just cool to think about. Okay, we are going to have a positive periapsis. I need to. Alright, I'm going to cut it off there because we are behind our apoapsis. Okay, so the next thing we got to do is go to our descending node, add maneuver at the descending node, and we need to keep an eye on that. No, not the intersect. I want it, not the periapsis. Yeah, I want that ascending node number there. Okay, so that's going in the right direction. Good. And so we are gonna try and match up. 2 degrees, 1 degree, 0, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, 0. We kind of didn't get the not a number. And that's okay. If it's 0.0, that'll work. You're never going to get the not a number in actuality. If I pulled up the Kerbal has a rendezvous. Yeah, why not? Let's pull it up. Okay, so we got the rendezvous thing here. I'm gonna turn that back off though, and you can see the orbital periods are different. Relative inclination is still at 8 degrees because we haven't done or inclination correction burn yet. But that's what we're setting up. So we're basically going to change our inclination by 8.1 degrees. It's going to take 328 meters per second, which we have 3,100. So I think we can afford the maneuver. All right. Just adjusting my attitude here. All right. And there we go. I time warp to stop the rotation of the vessel. And I'm gonna just look at the vessel, see how Bob's doing. Bob seems like he's hanging in there. Ready to pick up some science. All right. Now. All right, let's fast forward. I'm going to slow it down a little bit early by just 5 seconds, just so I can adjust my attitude one last time before we have to burn. Try and get that dot to match as close as I can. And we got 8 seconds left. Time always goes slower because it's game time, right? It's not real time seconds, it's game time seconds. Game time seconds, just like in football, you know, the last 2 minutes of the football game always take way longer. That's why they put the 2-minute warning in there. Same thing with basketball and other sports. Okay, so we're doing this burn. We're going to adjust our inclination, and we're going to adjust our orbit, periapsis and apoapsis to be appropriate to try and figure out a way for us to be able to rendezvous with the lander. She's got to catch up 3/4 of a rotation almost, not quite, but I mean that's a lot of catching up to do. So, all right, my maneuver node is starting to lose it for me, but I'm gonna watch my relative inclination. As long as that still goes down, I'm just gonna keep on burning. Oh, but my rotation is not stopping over here. Why is that? It's because I don't have enough control authority, I'm sure. I wonder if I just ditch this stage. 1,500 meters per second should be enough, so I'm just gonna ditch the stage. Let's do it. That's gonna be way better for trying to do this rendezvous maneuver than trying to have that heavy, big back of an ass hanging on to the back of my rocket here. So I'm just gonna it's still bringing my relative inclination down, so I'm gonna keep doing it until that is no longer the case over here. So we're at 75, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20. Bye-bye stage. 15. Oh, we're getting actually doing pretty good. And we just started going back up, so I stopped. I exited, and that's going to be our us, right? And so our relative inclination is so close that that we have successfully achieved what we were looking to do with that, right? 0.0 in value, 0.01121. That's why it's not a number, because it still has technically this fractional degree that we're off by, but it's so small that it might as well be the same. Okay, now that's my apoapsis. That's me. So I'm kind of at periapsis here. What I want is I want periapsis to be whatever their periapsis is. Where's their periapsis? Right at my apoapsis, which is 70. So what's their apoapsis? Their apoapsis is 73 to 76. So I'd like to make this periapsis as close to that apoapsis as possible. And so that way, that's going to be our rendezvous point. At some point, we're going to try and come around just at the right moment to where we just adjust our orbit down, basically, and we've rendezvoused and we've matched velocity. So I'm going to create a maneuver node at apoapsis. And actually, I'm going to move it a little bit off of apoapsis to try and be more at their apoapsis, which is right here. So I want to try and I'm trying to finagle with these. There we go. I'm going to move it to be above there so that when I adjust this, it's going to also adjust the point in my orbit that is my apo and periapsis. I know it's periapsis. I call it periapsis all the time. It's just habit. It's shorthand basically. And we're going to want to reduce it to 73.6, 74, 73, 8.6. Okay, and that's 73 to 76. Okay, so we want 73 to 73 to. You never got to get that 76 right where you want it, but we could try 235. Nope, too far. That's pretty dang close, right? That's within 5 meters, and so that'll get us pretty dang close. And we'll be able to walk that in very easily. Now, that doesn't mean that once I do this and I get over to here that they're going to match. There's still going to be plenty of catching up to do. In fact, what I might do is at the periapsis burn positive so that I pull this up until we do have an appropriate. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and F5 and fast forward to our burn. Alright, back to this. And we're 13 seconds here. Just for my OCD's sake. Okay, 9 seconds to go. Game time. Game time. 7 seconds. And it's crawling. My frame rate is just so slow. Okay, here we go. Oh, way overshot. Way overshot. Woo! So we're just gonna rotate it around, and we're just gonna hit shift. Just a tiniest little bit, enough to start moving that, right? And we're gonna just chase our maneuver node. It's down to 1, and we want that to be 73 to 80. So it's 72, 73, bam. And we might just punch it. Oh, look at that, 73 to 78. The other one was 73 to 76. You can't get much better than that. The only problem is that my periapsis is not aligned with their periapsis. That's okay though. I will take that any day of the week. We're going to F5. And that's why I put these. Well, do you know, some people may want to say that this is it's cheating to have precise nodes. It's cheating to have Kerbal engineering system and all these things. And certainly it is a lot less fly by the seat of your pants. It is quite a bit easier And so if you're looking to maximize your challenge, yeah, don't use these. To be honest, for me, while it is more challenging, it doesn't make it more fun for me. And particularly when I'm trying to do these videos for you guys, and I have a hard enough time just remember to put freaking parachutes on my thing, just why we're doing this mission in the first place. That I don't need to try and mess with all this other stuff and talk to you guys and all the other things we're doing. So, you know, there's something to be said about, you know, making something difficult without making it hard, if you know what I mean. Why might that needs to just go away. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to do a maneuver at their periapsis. Actually, that's their apoapsis. My apologies. Okay, and so we're going to be coming around this way. And what we want to do is we want to try and get one of these closest approach numbers to actually meet up. And it's actually not going to happen because unless I way out overdo my orbit, it's not going to catch up in one orbit. So we're going to wait. We're going to have to go around it several times to make this happen as well. But I'm going to go ahead and push it up. I'm pushing it up to 200. Just under. It's going to do two things for me. Number one, it's going to allow me to have faster time warp. Number two, it's going to it won't have me thinking. My thinking is still going to be slow and idiotic, but it'll help us have faster time warp, and it will also help Valentina to catch up to us just that much faster as well. So I'm going to F5 this. I'm going to move my, go ahead and adjust my attitude. All right. And they have deployed the JCSAT 16 satellite. We're watching that right now. 32 T plus 32 minutes, 15 seconds. Actually, oh, and there it just went. It just deployed. And it has a little rocket engine on the bottom of it, so it can do its orbital maneuvers, but it is free of the Falcon 9 second stage completely. That is a beautiful shot. They got the sun doing the J.J. Abrams lens clip flare for you. To boot, I mean, that was a shot just straight out of a J.J. Abrams movie, apparently. Couldn't have made that better if you tried, right? Okay, 5 seconds. 3, 1, and go. And because we weren't always quite on our maneuver node, it moved on us. We didn't get exactly 0, but that's fine, right? Because we got the altitude that we were looking for our apoapsis. Okay, and so now it's just a waiting game. You notice I double-clicked on Kerbal to, I was about to call it Kerbal. Double-clicked on Kerbal so that I'm centered on Kerbal and not on either of the two craft, which are on the opposite sides now, it looks like. No, it's still, it's not it's not 3/4 now, it's like 2/3 of the way across. But anyway, yeah, because particularly when I fast forward here, it will be easier. One of the things you might do if you just can't wait through this time warp, and obviously you'll be able to fast forward through it because it's an edited video. If you can't take the time warp wait that is just going to be inevitable in these types of rendezvous close to Kerbin or any other body. What you can do is you can go to the Space Center, go back to M, go to the Space Center, and then go to the tracking station. And fast forward in the tracking station while you're still keeping an eye on both the objects that you're trying to rendezvous. And when the minimal lander, in our case, catches up to rescue, and really we're looking at these closest approach icons, right? And we're looking to see when they get to see how it just moved as my ship went across this node here, where it would be the closest approach, right? You notice how this went from over here and it ticked over to over there. And when I come back around again, it will do it yet again, and this will probably click over to about right here, maybe right there if we're lucky. And then it'll do it again. And right about there, but somewhere between this one and that one, we're going to want to readjust our orbit to actually get a strong, firm rendezvous. I'm going to let you, now that I've explained it, I'm going to fast forward, and I'll see you when we get to the point where I'm going to start finagling with the actual rendezvous. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the episode here. As always, thanks for watching. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.